Howdy everyone, Polcher here with an Age of Magic video. In today's video we are going to do the champion spotlight for Lokhir. He's the new Dark Elf coming to the game. He will be available through the Magic Pass to begin with, the next one coming out after Roynar. So we'll jump over, look at his stats, and then we'll throw him into some battle scenarios and see what he's capable of. So Lokhir is the fourth Dark Elf coming to the game. He's the Dark Elf caster. As you can see down below, the images for his abilities have not been added yet, but the descriptions are in. He's all good to go apart from the pictures. So we'll go ahead and look at him anyway. So coming in, his hit points come at 1.8 million. That's fairly standard for casters. Casters have quite low health. His speed is 213. Armor 21k. Magic damage resistance 34k. His basic magic damage is 187k, magic critical hit damage chance is 31, and magic critical hit damage is 314. So he can do a bit of damage. Health pretty low, but with the Dark Elves, especially with Azariel, he's not going to die quickly unless he gets the invulnerability removed. And she will be taking a lot of hits because she is the caster. And you've got Drake as well, who is not really a tank, but he can hide Dark Elves. So Lokhir shouldn't be the main focus, but I'm sure he'll get hit by AoE and he'll take a fair bit of damage. So here are the stats as usual. You guys, I'm not going to go through everything here, but you guys can pause it and have a look at anything specific that you like. And do what you will with it. So there you go, there's Lokhir, all his stats. So we'll jump into the arena, we'll look at his abilities, what they do, and how you could potentially use him in battle. So Lokhir's basic ability is Arrow of Darkness. I know it's a special that's already been reported. Damages one target, has a 20% chance per Dark Elf in the party to stop the target from making support attacks for 2 turns. If the target dodges this attack, they will take 10% damage to their maximum health. This damage ignores armor and magic resist. So effective against, of course, the Archons. If they dodge, which they can dodge a lot, they will take damage for dodging. Of course, against Magnus, however, you're not really going to achieve anything because he cannot dodge. So you'll prevent him from using his support attacks. So we're going to go ahead and just use the basic ability against Lucky, see the animation for it. Pretty cool animation, just shoots out his dagger, rose, whatever it is, and yeah, does what it's supposed to. So again, I mean, what I don't like about this ability is it has RNG on it. The basic attack has RNG on it, meaning that for it to be effective, you need a full team of Dark Elves. Obviously, you have the chance of proccing it without a full team, but yeah, you're losing that guarantee if you don't have five Dark Elves. But it is what it is. So basic, it does a lot. I mean, basic attacks are almost becoming special abilities at this point of the game. So yeah, it's neat. Nothing over the top, but I mean, it can do 10% max HP damage. It's pretty good. Lokhir's first special is Shadow Pact. Damages all enemies, increases the damage output of other Dark Elves in the party by 25% for 2 turns. Has a 20% chance per Dark Elf in the party to do 5% of the target's maximum health in damage, ignoring their armor for 2 turns, when any number of buffs is cast or removed from the enemy. So, and I have double checked, this also includes you removing the buffs. So if you use Roynar, for example, where he can remove buffs from the enemy, that's going to be doing extra damage. So pairing with Roynar, another good Dark Elf, probably one of the best champions in the game, you could potentially do a lot of damage on teams that use a lot of buffs. So we'll go ahead and use the ability here, see what it looks like. It's pretty awesome. He summons a Beyblade and smashes the enemy. So what does the debuff look like? All right, so we can see it on Lucky and the tiles there. It's the gas cloud symbol that you can apply with Drake. Different effect, but that's the symbol you're going to see. So if any buffs are applied or removed from a tiles and Lucky, they will take extra damage. So moving on to a Cursed Magnus squad, you can see the Sacrif in the back has the dodge buff on her, and she has the debuff on her as well. So if we use Roynar's Light of Retribution ability, it should do no damage to her, but she should take 5% HP, max HP damage because we'll be removing the dodge buff. So we'll go ahead and use his Light of Retribution, and we'll have a look. As you can see, there you go. She takes some damage. We remove the buff, and yeah. So the Shadow Pact ability, Loki, pretend Soothsayer is that all-star athlete at your school who just beats everyone in everything. Her damage is instant. You notice it. It's out there. Loki is the kid at school that kind of just runs every sport event. Or not runs, walks. He just walks. He has no need to finish it. He's going to finish it, but he's going to get there very slowly. The damage he's going to cause is, it's there. As long as that debuff doesn't get removed by Sakura, for example. It's neat. It's just not going to be blowing anyone up in 2 seconds. So he's probably going to be effective against Barbarian teams, especially when Barbarians' rage decreases through healing. That'll be interesting to see how that works. I feel like, especially against an Archon team, your strategy would be, especially with a Mabe, is locking down the Sakura, preventing her from removing debuffs, and letting Drake and Lokhir's shield damage and buff removal damage just tick away. Hopefully they will aim Azariel, who's not going to take a lot of damage. But through that, yeah, they should just take passive damage. As long as you can keep Sakura locked down, I think you should be pretty good. So it is really going to depend on the 5th character, because you can't just lock Sakura down. If you remove Mabe from the team and put another Dark Elf in to give all your characters that 100% chance, there's no Dark Elves that really have a lockdown unless you're running Roynar as the leader, and you can lock healers and casters down. But depending on the Dark Elf, I doubt you're going to have Roynar as the leader. Anyway, yeah, and Shadow Pact also triggers the caster mark and applies the melee damager mark. And the melee damager mark you can't see, but the next melee damage attack ignores armor. So, it could be cooler. But yeah, there you go. They're bringing marks back. People are happy about that. We'll move on to the next ability. So moving on to his second special ability, Maelstrom of Death. The damage inflicted to the enemy is increased by 20% for the next 2 strikes. Has a 20% chance per Dark Elf in the party to reduce the enemy's speed by 25% for 2 turns. Has a 20% chance per Dark Elf in the party to reduce the enemy's damage output by 20% for 2 turns. So it's just a massive support attack. Does a lot. We're going to go ahead and use it here. It doesn't matter who we use it against. So Maelstrom of Death. Cool. It's no Beyblade like he does on his other ability, but there you go. And it just applies a whole bunch of debuffs to the enemy. I know what you're thinking. Cool debuffs. Maybe used in a nuke squad. Not really. Lokhir is a neat champion. He can support. He doesn't do a lot of direct damage. But he does apply a lot of negative effects to a team. But he's useless unless you run him on a pretty heavily sided Dark Elf team. His abilities all depend on that extra % chance from Dark Elves. Have a full Dark Elf team, you have a 100% chance of his abilities working. So have a full Dark Elf team, he's a pretty decent character. He does a lot. Doesn't do a lot of damage, but offers a lot in terms of support. But outside of Dark Elves, he's a complete RNG character, and personally, I wouldn't, unless you like RNG, unless that gets you off, I can't see him being used on a team that has less than 3 Dark Elves at the most, and even then, that's a big gamble using this champion. Maelstrom of Death, pretty decent support ability. Does a lot. Reduces damage output, increases damage input, reduces speed. Speed's big in this game, so reducing speed's never a bad thing. This ability would be awesome to use on a nuke squad or a bomb squad, but unfortunately it's just not the way. That's just the way it is. So, yeah, there's nothing more to really say about that ability. Or him. Really. We'll move on to his passive. So Lokhir's passive Shadow Shackles. When the target of an attack by an allied Dark Elf dodges, the target's chance of dodging the next 3 attacks reduces by 100%. This debuff cannot be blocked by Fortitude. When a target's Fortitude works successfully against an attack by an allied Dark Elf, there is a 20% chance per Dark Elf in the party to reduce that target's Fortitude by 100%. This debuff cannot be blocked by Fortitude. When the target of an attack by an allied Dark Elf dodges, Lokhir's ability cooldowns are reduced by 1 turn. So exactly what I said in the last ability. I'm just going to make it short and simple. He relies on Dark Elves. The more Dark Elves, the better. There's nothing to it really. Don't run him. I mean, maybe there's something out there that we'll discover, or someone will discover where he's useful, but heavily dependent on Dark Elves. Essentially, using him in a full Dark Elf team, your team is not going to be able to dodge. So, maybe a Barbarian team might be effective against Dark Elves, because once they start getting rage stacks, they can't dodge anyway. So that negates a lot of this. They're not going to dodge. So, I mean, the passive is ineffective. There's 100% chance to not dodge. Doesn't affect them because they're not going to dodge anyway. But yeah, I mean, being able to not dodge is big. So Dark Elves are going to wallop people, because especially the Archons. Obviously, he's built to take on the Archons. Is the faction complete enough to take on the Archons yet? No, not at all. I don't think so. I mean, they probably could win now. I still think it's going to be heavily RNG based. But another piece of the puzzle. What's going to come out next? We really need the Dark Elf leader at this point, the boss. I think that's going to really show us if they can take on the Archons. The only thing they lack against the Archons is speed. But if the Dark Elf boss brings speed, who knows? Who knows what mess that is going to cause? It's going to be like a League of Legends match. Whatever. It's going to be like a League of Legends match when a fight starts. With 5v5, you don't know what's going on in the battle. You just can't see shit. So, yeah, I mean, he's a neat character considering what he does, but he needs Dark Elves. Simple as that. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. If you do have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. I'll answer to the best of my ability. And wherever you are in the world, until next time, please take care of yourself.